Growing up, I always believed my father and I were a team. After my parents' divorce when I was 10, it was just the two of us. My mother moved across the country, and my father became my entire world. I trusted him completely, but trust is a fragile thing. When I was 16, my father introduced me to Linda. I hadn't even known he was dating. I was hurt by the secrecy, but I tried to be supportive. A few months later, they married, and Linda moved in with her daughter, Emma. Suddenly, I went from being an only child to having a stepsister just 3 years younger than me. Emma and I never bonded. She was lively, social, and always the center of attention, while I was quiet and introverted. We coexisted, polite but distant. The moment I turned 18, I left for college and never looked back. I focused on my studies, built a life of my own, and kept my visits home to holidays and birthdays. Then Emma moved to my city, and everything began to unravel. Emma arrived with her husband Jake and their 2 kids, Liam, 4, and Ava, 2. Jake had landed a job at a tech startup, and Emma, a stay-at-home mom, needed help settling in. My father called me asking if I could assist them in finding a place, navigating the city and getting adjusted. I wasn't thrilled, but I agreed. I thought that would be the end of it. A week later, Emma started showing up at my apartment every evening. At first, she asked me to watch the kids for just an hour while she ran errands. I agreed, not wanting to seem cold, but soon it became a daily routine. She would drop them off without asking, sometimes leaving before I could protest. Work from home as a graphic designer. By the time she arrived, I was done with work, but my evenings were my time, to relax, see friends, or simply unwind. Instead, I found myself babysitting 2 energetic toddlers. I hinted that she should hire a sitter. She always had an excuse. "It's just for today," she'd say. "I'm still getting used to the city." I began to suspect she was taking advantage of me. The breaking point came when she ignored my firm no. I had plans to go out with friends to celebrate a promotion. That morning, I reminded Emma that I was unavailable. She agreed, yet at 6 p.m., just as I was about to leave, she knocked on my door, kids in tow. Before I could protest, she shoved them inside and drove away. I was livid. When she returned at 9 p.m., I confronted her. She dismissed my frustration, saying, "We're family. Families help each other." That was when I snapped. "We're not family," I told her. "Just because our parents got married doesn't mean we have to be close." Emma's face crumbled. She grabbed the kids and left in tears. I felt guilty, but also relieved. I had set a boundary. I thought it was over. I was wrong. The next day, my father called. He was furious. Emma had called him in tears, saying I had treated her horribly and refused to help with the kids. "You should apologize," my father said. "And you need to babysit when she asks. That's what family does." I tried to explain. I told him how Emma had repeatedly ignored my time, how she had ruined my plans, how she never respected my boundaries. He didn't care. "You've been distant ever since I married Linda," he accused. "You're selfish, Sophia. I'm disappointed in the person you've become." That cut deep. Then came the real blow. "If you don't apologize and start helping Emma, I'll cut you off." I was stunned. "Then cut me off," I shot back. "I don't need your money." There was silence. Then a click. He had hung up. Linda and other family members flooded my phone with messages, accusing me of being cold-hearted. Emma posted vague, guilt-tripping messages on social media about how family is everything. I felt like I was going crazy. Was I wrong? Was I really being cruel? But deep down, I knew the truth. Emma had taken advantage of me, and my father had chosen her over me. 2 weeks passed. My father refused to speak to me. Then one night Emma called me. I almost didn't answer, expecting more guilt-tripping. But when I picked up, her voice was trembling. "I need to talk," she whispered. "Please." When she arrived, she was a mess, eyes red, hands shaking. Then she confessed. She hadn't been running errands. She had been going to therapy. "I have postpartum depression," she admitted. "Since Ava was born, I've felt lost, like I'm failing as a mother." She had been too ashamed to tell anyone. She left the kids with me because she didn't want people to know she was seeking help. I didn't know what to say. Part of me was furious. She had lied to me, used me, but another part of me saw her pain. We talked for hours. She apologized for taking advantage of me. I told her I wished she had trusted me enough to be honest. We weren't sisters. But maybe, just maybe we could start being something close. Days later, I was at a coffee shop when I saw Jake. He was with a woman, holding her hand. I froze. Was he cheating? I debated telling Emma. Would she even believe me? The next night, Emma called again. "I followed Jake today," she said, her voice hollow. "He's been seeing someone." I braced myself, but nothing could have prepared me for what came next. She's his half-sister. My stomach dropped. Jake had recently discovered his biological family. Instead of telling Emma he had started an affair with his own half-sister, Emma was shattered. She packed her things, took the kids, and moved into my apartment. I thought that was the biggest secret. I was wrong. A week later, my father showed up at my door, looking pale. "I need to tell you something," he said. Then he dropped the bomb. Jake's half-sister? She was also my half-sister. Before meeting Linda, my father had an affair. The woman had a daughter, and that daughter had unknowingly entered into a relationship with her own half-brother. I couldn't breathe. Everything I thought I knew about my family was a lie. Emma left Jake. She started fresh. She found a small apartment, got a part-time job at a bookstore, and slowly rebuilt her life. The divorce process was messy, but she stayed strong. We weren't just distant stepsisters anymore. Through all this chaos, we had become real family, not because of blood, but because we had chosen to be there for each other. As for me, I needed distance. Distance from my father, from the drama, from the tangled mess of lies that had defined my family for so long. So I packed a bag and left. For the first time in years, I reached out to my mother. I had spent so long resenting her absence, but now I just needed someone who wasn't tangled up in this disaster. To my surprise, she was there for me. We talked for hours about everything, things we had never talked about before. I realized I had been carrying so much anger, not just toward my father, but toward the past itself. And maybe, just maybe, it was time to let some of it go. I also started therapy. It helped me process everything. My fractured relationship with my father, my struggles with boundaries, my lifelong habit of trying to prove my worth to people who didn't always deserve it. I realized that for too long, I had let guilt and obligation control me. I don't know what the future holds for my family. The trust with my father will take a long time to rebuild, if it ever can be. I don't think I'll ever reach out to my half-sister. There are too many painful layers to that story. And as for Emma, she's healing in her own way. What I do know is this: family is not just about blood. It's about the people who respect you, who stand by you, who don't demand more than you're willing to give. And for the first time in my life, I'm choosing my family on my terms. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.